welcome back to the Doctor Who Retrospective. I'm Scotty. You're not. Evolution of the Daleks is part 2 of this 2-part adventure. When last we left, the Doctor and Martha and the others was in the creation of a new Dalek species, the human Dalek. That's right. An addendum. Something I said. I said it was 1933. It is in fact the year 1930. So very close after the stock market crash. So yeah, we see that he is a human Dalek. It's basically the Dalek squid thing, octopus thing on top of a human body. The Doctor reveals himself and has a talk-to-talk with Dalek Sec. I'm trying to think. I think these 4 are the Cult of Skaro, because they're the other one, the last one left after this, Dalek Khan. The only ones that had names. So, I don't know. But anyway, so eventually, the Doctor gets everyone out of there. They go back to Hoovertown. Except for Laszlo. Because Laszlo still seems to be under control of them with the pig things. Although he does kind of break free. And I want to break free. Sorry. He does break free. But so they go back to Hooverville. And they speak to Solomon, who says, "Oh, we should just try to reason with them." And he's like, "You can't reason with a Dalek. You can't. You cannot." But 2 Daleks show up, looking for the Doctor. They have the pig people around, wrangle them up, and the Doctor talks to them, and then Solomon tries to talk them into, compromising, joining them. But one of the Daleks shoots him. But, interestingly, this invokes a reaction from Dalek Sec, who seems to feel remorse for this. He goes, and demands that the Doctor come back with him, which he does, but he gives Martha his psychic paper that's supposed to work to help with whatever they need to do. So, Martha, Frank, and Tallulah go back to the Empire State Building to figure out exactly what's going on there. And discover that they're using Dalekanium on this thing to do something. When a lightning strike hits it, it's going to do something. The Doctor is brought into the laboratory to talk to Dalek Sec. And Dalek Sec explains that he is using that electricity of a supernova, or a solar flare, which it's lightning. I don't know where a solar flare comes from, but to create the human Dalek species that won't all look like him. They look like regular humans, but they won't. I don't know. He's the only one that looks like that, I guess. And this is where I was confused, because I'm like, well, there's only 4 Daleks. Because the way they did it is they transferred Dalek Sec's consciousness into the hoity-toity guy, basically. I don't remember the guy's name. So it's basically what it is. And then all these people have had their memories erased, and they're going to do that. I'm like, well, how are they going to do all that with just 4 Dalek brains? Apparently, there's something that's going to just turn them, mutate. The Dalekanium is going to mutate the Dalek DNA with the human DNA. But Dalek Sec is now come to realize that the most powerful element in this is the human element, and wants to make them more human, which angers the other Daleks, and eventually those Daleks turn on Dalek Sec. Yep. Meanwhile, Martha, Tallulah, and Frank make it to one of the top levels of the Empire State Building and look at the blueprints. By the way, this thing is wide open. There's a whole section that's just wide open. You can step and you can look out. I wouldn't do that. Hell to the no. Too high for me. But Tallulah's like, oh, look how high it is. And I'm like, no thanks. Even when I see her standing there, it'll show a shot of the green screen or whatever. But she's standing there, and I'm just like, no, 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 no. Too high for me. There's no way. No. That's when they discover the Dalekanium. And so Martha comes up with the idea to stop it. But eventually, thanks to Laszlo, he and the Doctor escape. Because they turn on Dalek Sec. And eventually they escape. And they go all the way up to that level because they know exactly what level it is, I guess. Where they are. And, Laszlo explains that, well, no, actually, it is Dalek Sec who explains that the pig people don't have long to live. Their lifespan is not long. I know it's a plot point for the end of the episode, but they make a big point to point out, a big thing about pointing out that Laszlo is different from the other ones. He is more human than the other ones are. Yet, he seems to be the one to succumb to it before everyone else. I know he's the only one left afterwards, after Martha comes up with a brilliant idea to use the lightning bolt to electrocute all the pig people. Very good. Everyone else in there would die too, but it's a TV show. Well, the Doctor gets rid of the Dalekanium, but the thing is struck by lightning and it creates these, human Dalek hybrids that are now more like Dalek than human. However, they get cornered inside of the theater, and the other Daleks, the other two Daleks, they have them cornered, and they say, we will now destroy our greatest enemy. Just as they go to exterminate the Doctor, Dalek Sec jumps in the middle of it. Then the Doctor has this big old speech as he does. Oh yes, your own leader. You've just exterminated him. But then they say, well, we're just going to have the hybrids kill him. But they don't. They ask why. And the reason why they do this is because they now have Time Lord DNA. And I went, well, that's a little tricky to have. But then the Daleks just start exterminating. There's a fight. 2 Daleks die, but Dalek Khan, who is left behind, there's just some sort of button that terminates them all like that. That's handy. Yeah, and then Frank disappears for the rest of the episode as the others... The Doctor goes down to the lab to confront Dalek Khan, the last remaining Dalek, the only one left. Now you think, oh, this is going to be an epic show now. The Doctor could finally finish off his mortal enemies, but the Doctor has changed from the others. This was the Doctor from the Time War. Sure, this Doctor's been through things. He's seen things. He said, I've seen a genocide of the human Daleks, because they were a whole new species with Time Lord DNA, too. So they were a whole new species. And they're all dead now. He saw a genocide. He won't see another one. And he asked Dalek Sec to help him, basically. But Dalek Sec uses an emergency temporal shift, which is how they explain how Dalek Sec got that they survived as emergency temporal shift. And he does it here. And we will catch up with what became of him in Series 4. Yeah, that's a whole thing. But Laszlo's dying. Oh no. So the Doctor, not wanting to see any more death, concocts this concoction, for lack of a better term, to bring Laszlo back, and he survives. Even though they kind of cut to him being fine. And he's going to go to Hooverville. Frank talked to everyone. I guess Frank's the leader now. But, yeah. So the Doctor and Martha head back to the TARDIS. And, she's like, oh, sorry for what happened. He missed the Dalek. Do you think we ever see him again? And he goes, oh, yes. Without hesitation. Oh, yes. We haven't seen the last of him. And we haven't. He's smart. But, yeah, this was a good finale. Altogether, it's a decent story. you see the Doctor kind of shook in this episode when he sees and things. Like, he starts to realize, oh, there's human and a Dalek together, and the human is sort of taking over, and he's tasked with helping create more like that and save the species, and he's on it. He's doing that. And then the Daleks turn on them, and now he sees these new creatures that they're created with also Time Lord DNA. They all die. So he's seeing this genocide. He was trying to save a race by creating ones that will be more or less evil, less heartless. He was trying to do that. He was trying to help the Daleks, but the evil Daleks were just like, no, we do not want that. And then there are these species. But then they're gone. And so he sees the true best and worst of the Daleks. Really. It's poetic, I guess. There's a lot in these 2 episodes about Martha and her love for the Doctor. And again, this is just repetitive stuff from Rose, although it's not as overt as Rose. Like, Rose it's very obvious, where she just sort of talks. Like, she has that conversation with Tallulah in the last episode where it's like, not love or whatever, and yeah, I don't know. Also, I can't help but think about time travel in a way where, like, those were people that were supposed to exist before the Daleks showed up. Even that business hoity-toity guy was supposed to have a future. They're dead now. They have no future. That changes things. Not just then, but like future generations. What if one of them was, had a descendant that was going to do something great? And I hate to say the cliche of, oh, he just pushes a button and everything is turned back to normal and everyone is saved kind of situation. But I think it would, I don't know. You go back to 1930. I don't know. And then Laszlo living, like being a pig person living there. I don't know. I feel like that messes with, like, because what's the next generation? What does that do? A weird looking person in 1930. He and Tallulah have kids or something. Is that the next generation of pig people? I don't know. I just feel like the Doctor's always trying not to upset the time-space continuum. And there's a lot in these 2 episodes that just, like, all those people died. They would have had descendants that could have done something. That changes history because the Daleks weren't supposed to be there. I don't know. It's a little bit wibbly-wobbly for my liking, but, it's fine. But yeah, both of these parts it's a solid 2-parter, and it works. And then now the next episode, Mark Gatiss turns into a giant Scorpion King knockoff. What else can I say? We got the Lazarus Experiment, which is not the movie, the Lazarus Experiment. Isn't that what it's called? The one with, what's her face? Olivia Brown or whatever her name is. The Lazarus Effect. Excuse me. That was the Lazarus Effect. This is the Lazarus Experiment. And while it's not one of my favorites, unfortunately, it is kind of pertinent to the overarching story of Series 3. So it is something to talk about. So, yeah, we'll get to that next. But what are your thoughts on this episode? Leave me a comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.